We're going to be looking at Jane Eyre in this set of videos. And we'll start with the plot. So Jane Eyre is a classic novel written by Charlotte Bronte, first published in 1847. The story follows the experiences of the titular character Jane Eyre as she progresses from childhood to adulthood. And we have to remember, though, it is 1874 when we look at what happens. And the plot can be summarised as follows. Orphaned Jane Eyre is raised by her cruel aunt Mrs. Reed, who mistreats her and sends her off to Lowood, a harsh charity school. And despite the difficult condition, Jane excels in her studies and eventually becomes a teacher at that school. After leaving Lowood, Jane becomes a governess, which is like a cross between a nanny and a teacher, at Thornfield Hall, where she meets the enigmatic and brooding Mr. Rochester. Jane and Rochester develop this deep emotional connection, leading to their engagement. However, just before their wedding, Jane discovers a dark secret. Rochester is already married to Bertha Mason, who's a woman who lives in the attic, and she's quite mentally ill. And the treatment of Bertha Mason is something that we have to look at in context. When we're reading this book, and we'll talk about context in another video. Devastated by this revelation, Jane leaves Thornfield and wanders the moors, collapsing eventually near the home of St. John Rivers and his sisters. They take her in, and Jane discovers that she is related to them. So St. John proposes marriage, despite the fact that they're cousins. It's ridiculous, hoping she will accompany him to India as a missionary. Jane is tempted by the idea, for some reason, of marrying her cousin, but she's tempted by the idea of a purposeful life, but realises she cannot marry without love, because she's going to marry for love. So she listens to her heart, and for some reason goes back to Thornfield, to that stupid married man, anyway, and finds it in ruins after Bertha Mason's destructive outburst. So she learns that Rochester tried to save his wife from the fire. So Bertha Mason burns the house down, essentially, and dies. Rochester's become blind and lost a hand in the process, and Jane and Rochester are reunited. Their love triumphs over the obstacles they faced, although the obstacle they faced was the fact that he was a liar, but this is my opinion. There's more Jane Eyre revision coming soon. Subscribe for new English revision videos every week.